how much XRP do you need to be wealthy in a few years? Because you guys ask me this question all the time, I decided to do some research today and give you a few possible times when you could turn a certain amount of XRP into megabucks. I'm telling you this because I know most of you want to make a lot of money and be financially free. So I wanted to tell you guys what I really think. I wanted to use advanced tooling systems to do some analysis and breakdown, as well as show you some other cool ways you can use your XRP holdings to make more money. This way, you can make sure that you're always making money instead of just holding on to that XRP, letting it sit there while other big whales and big investors use their money to get a lot more for it. That's why I started by asking Grok a simple question. How much XRP do I need to get rich in the next few years? I asked Grok this question so that it can look at all the news stations and answer me. That's about in the middle of all the top news sources that it thinks are reliable and full of facts. Of course, this isn't always true. In October, people asked AI tools like OpenAI if XRP could hit $3.00. The answer was that it wouldn't happen until 2025. It's clear that what AI tools say and what actually happens in the market changes all the time, and there are many first. I'll read what the AI tool says, then I'll tell you what I really think about it. Finally, I'll talk about what I think will happen, and to be honest, I was a lot more right than the AI tool was in October 2024 and the year before that. But first, let's look at the price. Hopes and fears for 2025. Change really did say that XRP would hit 205 to 377, and the coin coder said it would be between 189 and 251. We've heard some people say it could go as high as $581.00 like CoinDia Standard Charter, 550 and Egg Great Cryptos at $170.00 after giving it a lot of thought. I think that, given what's going to happen this year and the huge liquidity cycle that's about to begin, $170.00 is the most likely price. I do think that many of these other news outlets are biased against XRP for some reason, which is why they're giving such low numbers, which I find very interesting. Since global liquidity is rising so quickly, people will usually put a lot of money into cryptocurrency because they don't trust fiat currency. We also know that XRP has the clearest rules about regulation of any coin and is one of the few cryptocurrencies that is being used to solve problems in the real world right now. If you think back to the dot-com bubble, compare the companies that did nothing but was very valuable to those that did something and provided a service that was worth paying for. I think you guys know the answer to that. Google and Amazon are examples. Those companies made it because they were giving people something useful, and they're still doing that today. Anyway, I think XRP is in a good place right now, and I think the more optimistic predictions are more likely to come true, at least for 2025. That being said, I did say that we're thinking about the next few years, not just a few months. That being said, I do think that a more optimistic situation could lead to a price of up to $20. 0 cents this year. I'm sure we'll get more than $5 to $10, 0 cents per coin. That's a good guess for how much more we'll get. But let's talk about XRP first. How much do you need this year to reach your goals? $10, 0 cents, $20, 0 cents, or $5,000, 0 cents XRP? Of course, if we hit $10, 0 cents XRP, you'll only need $100, 0 cents XRP, which I know is a lot for some of you, but it will feel worth it. It would be clear that it was worth it if XRP reached $10, 0 cents, which I think is very likely to happen. If XRP goes up to $20, 0 cents a coin, you'll only need 50 XRP, which I know again sounds like a lot of money. I think it was just over It's cool if you can turn $100,000 0 cents into more than $1 million, but that's a gain of about 10 times the price, which is crazy. That's pretty much what Grok is saying, though, because they're telling you that your stocks are worth $1 million 0 cents. If XRP hits $10 0 cents by 2027, you'll have $0 0 cents. If it goes up to $5 0 cents, you'll have $500 0 cents. Grok says that buying $50 0 cents to $100 0 cents worth of XRP is the best way to keep yourself safe. You won't mind if XRP goes down a little. It's all about how much money you have, right? Yes, I agree. I think that getting $50 0 cents to $1 0 cents in XRP is a good long-term plan. It might not be possible for many of you to do this year, but it is very doable if you can consistently put money into XRP every month. I wanted to share this with you to show you how fair it is. The median wage in the US and Canada is $50 0 cents. So if you can put $50 0 cents into XRP every month, you can do it. If you divide $50 0 cents by 12, you get about $466 0 cents a month. Let's say that all of your costs add up to $3.50 a month. At the end of each month, you have about $600 0 cents left over after paying all of your bills. That's $6 0 cents a year to invest. Putting $36 0 cents into something for 5 years will quickly pay off. That's $7 0 cents, $2,000 a year if you multiply that by 12. You can get even more out of this in other ways too. For example, you could cut back on your spending and get up to $1 0 cents a month in XRP if you do this for a year. You'd have $60 0 cents in XRP after a year, then 5 years, and so on. If the price of XRP goes up 10 times, you could turn that into $600,000 0 cents. I think that's a very good chance, especially if you do this when the market is low and start buying XRP in 2027, 2028, or 2029, for example. It's easy to get a 10x, which would turn $60 0 cents into $600 0 cents in that time. This is a great way to make money all the time, and I think that anyone who wants to make huge gains should dollar cost average into XRP. Okay, I think this is a must, but I did talk about ways to get more for your money at the beginning. That's why there are different ways to do this, but I think trading is the best way to do it. For example, I keep about 80% of my money in cryptocurrency that I keep putting money into by dollar cost average. Then I use the last 20% of my cryptocurrency to sell options, which is what I do now. And some months I make a lot of money, 400%, because of how the markets